Am I going to hurt some fanboy feelings with this one? Probably. Chase Lee Hockey here with the Blue Futon reviewing Dune Part 2 4DX. So what is this movie about? Pretty simple premise. This is following right after Dune Part 1, and we are following all these characters in the desert while we have a new bad guy, Austin Butler. Then we have multiple families trying to intertwine and figure out who gets the spice, who should be number one of the universe or land or whatever. So, some of the 4DX first. When comparing this to the first one, this one has a lot more effects because there's more worms, there's more action, so expect just craziness. There is going to be a lot of smoke in this one. There's a lot of movement. Overall, fun. The water, not a lot of water, because you know why? You're in the freaking desert, so don't expect a lot of water in this 4DX experience, which at this time when this video is released, is probably gone and Ghostbusters taking it over. Then after that, Godzilla is. And I think because of my other work problems, I don't want to call them problems, but I don't see Ghostbusters in 4DX. I'm sorry about that. So if you're comparing this to Dune Part 2 and Dune Part 1, if you're looking for a more subtle experience, the original Dune would have been a better time. This, way more bumpier, way more chaotic, but that's what you expect because there's more action, more worms, and more stuff going on. Just common sense, people. But yes, fun overall. Felt like a roller coaster and riding that worm like this. Anyway, let's talk about the movie. Just like the first one, it's technically sound. It's directed well. The cinematography is amazing. The sound is great. The costumes are great. The look of the movie is fantastic. I cannot not deny that. But the problem with this one and the second one, I went in, I came out, and I said, that's a movie. I am not on this Dune train. I'm sorry. I'm not saying it's a horrible movie. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm saying it's a good movie, but I just can't get behind it. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I'm just not connecting to any of the characters. I don't know if I'm not connecting to the world. I don't know if I'm not just connecting to the overall premise of the movie. If I have to just take a quick guess why it is, I think there's too many characters with too little dialogue. Christopher Walken, barely used. Florence Pugh, barely used. The mother this time, Rebecca Ferguson, feels like she was kind of barely used for a 3-hour movie. And how I said with the first one, it was like a Timothée Chalamet, Rebecca Ferguson movie. This one is more of a Javier Bardem, Timothée Chalamet, and Zendaya movie. And I'm okay with that. It was pretty good. Josh Brolin, barely in this movie. Dave Bautista, barely in this movie. Skarsgård, barely in this movie. Austin Butler, who is the main bad guy, he's kind of barely in this movie. Do you kind of see what I'm getting at with here? Yes, there's so much world building. There's so much going on with each character and taking these weird worms, which I'm wondering now, how does that small worm become that huge fucking thing? That growth is gotta be times a billion to get from that small thing to that big thing. But with this movie, I just don't know if I'm connecting with the characters how I'm supposed to. Like I said in the beginning, technically, great. The sound is good. The visual effects are good, except there's one scene with the flying thing that kind of looks a little bit awkward. But I don't know. I'm just not on this hype train. I am not breathing in this spice. To me, this is this shiny penny. And what I mean by that, there's something shiny on the ground, and you're just like, oh, that's nice. That's nice. It's hypnotizing me. It's hypnotizing me. But then you get slapped in the face, and you're like, wait a minute. It's just a penny. It's just a penny. That's not a gold coin. That is a penny. That is something that costs more to make than it is worth. And I think that is what Dune Part 2 is for me. Like I said, is it cinema? Sure. Is it a good time in the movies? Sure. But is it something I could rewatch over and over again? I don't know. Maybe the Part 3, and I gotta watch them like a rainbow where it's like, Part 1, Part 2, Part 3! And then chef's kiss. But the problem is when I'm watching Lord of the Rings, 1, 2, 3. After the second one, I'm just like, I'm fucking hyped. I'm like, get to the tower. I need to see what's happening. Here, you're just more of like, oh, you're about to go fight more families. We're family. We're Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel needs to show up in this one. I swear to God, if he doesn't show up, I'm going to be very, very sad. But overall, Dune Part 2, 4DX, it's a fine movie. I enjoyed it. It was fun for what it was. But the hype train, I just don't get it. And you could be like, downvote, how dare you, Chase? And I'll be like, that's okay. That's your opinion. I'm not here to change your opinion. I'm here to tell you my opinion. And if you're coming to me for me to change your opinion, that's a little bit weak sauce of you. So Dune Part 2, 4DX will receive a 4 out of 5 with Futon, which equals at 80%. And now you're probably thinking, wait a minute, 80%, that's pretty high. I can't deny, I enjoyed what I watched on screen, but it's not like, it's a solid 80% for being so technically good. But when it comes to the writing, and I think that's what the weakest part is, but it's still a technically well-made movie, and I cannot fault it for that. That puts it above it. But if I was in the 5s, it would be a 75 for sure. But we'll see the critics' news scores gave this one. So you have critics a 92% with 399 of them. Audience score 95% with over 5,000. Critic consensus. Visually thrilling and narratively epic, Dune Part 2 continues Denis Villeneuve's adaptation of the beloved sci-fi series in spectacular form. Sure, this is not my boat, and I'm willing to admit it. 92, 95, 80. Chase Lock here with the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. Hold up things, Butantopia. You Blue Futon, think about a great day, and I'll watch this today, tomorrow, week, from now, month, and a year from now, every single one of you. Peace of love, enjoy life, enjoy yourself, and just have a good time.